Ark 2 is an upcoming sequel, guys, to none other than the original title Ark, which obviously many of us really did enjoy. And I think that we can agree after watching the teaser trailer for Ark 2, this one promises to be bigger and even better than the original, which I think all of us were pretty much anticipating and hoping that it was going to go to the next level, to say the least. And so I want to go ahead and talk about everything that we know so far about Ark 2, guys, even though it's still pretty early and it's hard to say when we're going to actually get our hands on this game, but we certainly can speculate, and I would love to have a real conversation with you guys in the comment section down below. So let's get into it. So in an article written by Melindy Hetfeld of Games Radar, the next step in Ark's evolution is Ark 2, and it looks huge. So with Ark 2, the Game Awards 2020 had another big surprise announcement. It's in a surprise to learn about Ark 2 because the first game, Ark Survival Evolved, still has a healthy player base. The other thing that's certainly eye-popping about Ark 2 is the involvement of none other than actor and Ark superfan Vin Diesel. So what can we expect though, guys? Really quick, what I will say about the original Ark being Ark Survival Evolved, I played it on console. I play it on the Xbox One, and what I gotta say, guys, is I have had issues with bugs and glitches and things of that nature, and that kind of reminds me somewhat of like some of the bugs and things that we had even in games like No Man's Sky on console. Now I know a lot of people say that it's better on PC and such, but that has kind of hurt my experience, even though I think there is definitely deep down a very good game from, just by playing it, guys, over the course of time, you can see that there is certainly a great, a structure, a great storyline. They've got like a lot of things here. That's why I'm hoping with Ark 2, we're going to see them evolve and really kind of fix a lot of those mistakes, especially on consoles, but even just kind of evolving over time, guys, with this franchise is what I think really needs to happen. But the big question is, what is Ark 2? So Ark 2 is Studio Wildcard's sequel to Ark Survival Evolved, the multiplayer survival sandbox with dinos. According to a tweet by the developer, the overall gameplay idea of Ark isn't set to change in the sequel. It will still be a multiplayer game, and you will still be able to fight and tame creatures in order to help ensure your survival as best as possible. There are a lot of different dinosaurs in Ark, but also other prehistoric or otherwise extinct creatures, which you can not only make into your own large zoo if you so wish, but also ride and breed. It's not all fun though, as the survival the game's title hints at is an essential point of the experience. Ark is notorious for leaving players to figure out mechanics on their own through death, and more death, as well as plenty of stories of high-level players just raising through weaker players' camps. Now, what I'm going to say about the multiplayer experience here, guys, of the Ark Survival Evolved is, look, many of us enjoy the multiplayer experiences, but there's some of us who don't like it as much. And I'm one of those people that I embrace all of gaming and all types of different games and such. I enjoy, of course, Ark for being a multiplayer experience, but I really do want it to be more of a full package. And it doesn't seem like we're going to get that here with Ark 2, but obviously, we can keep our fingers crossed. And when I say a full package, guys, we talk about it all the time. I believe every AAA title should have a full package, that's being multiplayer, co-op modes, and a full-blown campaign. And the reason is because it justifies the cost of a $60 price tag or whatever the case might be, because you're getting more out of it than just that single player experience, or just that multiplayer experience, or just those co-op modes. You're getting a little bit of everything, which I think is what all these AAA titles should be doing. Looks like multiplayer is certainly the most, definitely the most popular mode out of all the different, modes that are out there in gaming up to this point. But I would really like to see Ark 2 also have, evolved from the perspective of having other modes outside of just multiplayer. That's just my thoughts. I would love to hear yours in the comment section below. The point of Ark 2 doesn't seem to be a complete upheaval of that concept, but for Studio Wildcard to make use of the new hardware to make a new world bigger and more beautiful than that of the first. The trailer does certainly look impressive. It's rendered in-engine and uses actual game assets, and if it weren't for the slightly rough facial animations and occasional stiff posture, you could mistake it for a CGI trailer. And I agree. I think the trailer looks absolutely incredible, guys. Just from the graphical perspective, I can't, that's something that really gets me excited about this title. Now, The big question people want to know is, when is the release date? So while we don't have a specific date, we have been given a rough 2022 ARC 2 release date window. Microsoft is yet to clarify whether that's a full launch or an early access launch, since ARC 2 could follow the same release model as ARC Survival Evolved. The first game launched into what back then was Xbox's preview program in 2015, ahead of the full launch in 2017. So I'm hoping we're a couple of, we're going to be able to get our hands on this game sooner rather than later. But I think, as with the current world situation, I'm sure that there's a possibility that these things could be delayed. This is a title that could get delayed, as with many other titles out there. It could get delayed. Maybe it'll stay on course, and hopefully it comes out in 2022. And that sounds about right to me, 2022 or 2023. Now, what will the ARC 2 platform releases be? So ARC 2 is an Xbox Series X as console launch exclusive. If things go the way they did with Survival Evolved, this will also include PC before a PS5 version will eventually follow. Microsoft also points out that ARC 2 will be optimized for Xbox Series X and S. So will there be a story here? That's the big question, guys, for people like myself who love the full packages. It's not certain ARC 2 will have a traditional storyline to follow. As a multiplayer experience, ARC Survival Evolved did eventually add lore for you to discover, which explained the island sci-fi background, but you're welcome to ignore all of that just as easily and make your own fun. And I disagree with that, though, because, look, you can make your own fun, obviously, guys. It's, with like games like Minecraft, and ARC is, of course, one of those titles that you can make your own fun. But at the same time, I love having like somewhat of a structure too in certain elements. It's great to have the free roam capabilities, but it's also great to be able to have an actual, living, breathing place that you're able to kind of experience through a campaign, where you see that story, the story arc, no pun intended, and see things that happen where you can really connect with the characters and the lore and the story, which can not only create a real legacy for the title, but can also push it forward into future titles as we go. So we'll have to wait and see. I mean, you see Vin Diesel, of course, showing up in ARC 2 as far as from that teaser trailer. Maybe there is more here than what was in the original ARC title. Now, we don't expect ARC 2 to go full Final Fantasy XIV, but with the pivotal role Vin Diesel played in the trailer, it's not far-fetched to assume he's going to be around for more than a marketing stunt. According to Microsoft, his character is named Santiago, and while the tribe he leads appears to be mostly eaten by the time the trailer wraps up, he clearly has a family to take care of. Maybe you will be able to complete quests with or for Santiago, which I agree. I think that would be something really interesting, but I would like to be able to either have him as a playable character or be able to be someone who's in his tribe that you're able to kind of follow that progress in that story. What is Vin Diesel doing in ARC 2 anyway? It's always exciting to see a big-name actor involved in a video game, whether it's Norman Reedus in Death Stranding or Dave Bautista in Gears 5. Perhaps Studio Wildcard working with Vin Diesel is simply a happy accident. The actor is known to be a big nerd who's enjoyed video games and a good game of D&D for years. According to Microsoft, he's simply a fan of ARC with a playtime of around about 1,000 hours, a medium time for the community. So that's a pretty big deal. That's putting in 1,000 hours for Vin Diesel, who's really busy, obviously making his movies. He's definitely a fan, to say the least, guys. He understands the game intimately and is providing direct feedback to the development process, Studio Wildcard says. Apparently that also involves logging bugs in ARC. It's not clear how heavily involved he is with the game, but it's fair to say Vin Diesel is a game developer now. So not only that, but the animated series is also chock full of A-list actors. Vin Diesel as Santiago will, of course, be there, but also the likes of Gerard Butler, Michelle Yeoh, David Tennant, Russell Crowe, Carl Urban, Elliot Page, and many more, some of whom you can already hear in the trailer. So the animated series, guys, chronicles the story of a mysterious primeval land populated by dinosaurs and other extinct creatures, where people from throughout human history have been resurrected. When 21st century Australian paleontologist Helena Walker awakes on the Ark after a tragedy, she must learn to survive and find new allies or die again at the hands of ruthless warlords, all while trying to uncover the true nature of their strange new world. So what's interesting, guys, is that ARC the animated series is kind of, being announced alongside ARC 2, which is really cool. And this gives me that real hope that we're going to see a full-blown story here in Arc 2, more so than what we saw in Arc Survival Evolved, where they kind of gave you, little tidbits of like pieces of a story to try to put, different, puzzle pieces together. This seems like it could be something much more, and they're definitely insinuating that it is, based upon the animated series that was also announced, to try to really give you an idea of like the scope of this world that they're trying to create. I gotta say, guys, I am really excited and intrigued for, Arc 2. Whenever it does release, I'm very intrigued by it. I just would love to see a full package, as we've always talked about here on the YouTube channel, where you got the multiplayer modes, you've got the co-op modes, but you also have a full-blown story as well. And they obviously, they kind of put their feet in the water, or their toes in the water, so to speak, and with Arc Survival Evolved when it came to the campaign. But let's see them go all in here on the concept of a full package to really bring the community at large back to Arc 2, but also, and to kind of continue that, but also to bring new people in and keep people in after they beat the campaign. They can play multiplayer or play co-op or vice versa. It gives people so much opportunity, and that's what I want to see here with Arc 2, because I want to see this franchise. I've always loved dinosaur games. I would love to see a game like this really grow in massive popularity. But I'd love to hear from you guys. What do you all think about Arc 2? You guys excited about it? You skeptical about it? Let me know in the comment section down below. And for more Arc 2 content and videos, stay here with Zero TV.